This is Between the Brackets, a Mediawiki podcast, episode 50, December 24th, 2019. Hello, I'm Yaron Koren, and welcome to this special holiday episode of Between the Brackets. So this is indeed a special episode of Between the Brackets. It doesn't just coincide with Christmas and Hanukkah, it's also the last episode of 2019, which of course means that it's the last episode of the 2010s. And on top of all of that, it also happens to be the 50th episode, the big 5-0, which is a pretty neat milestone, I think. So given all those things, I felt like I just had to make this a kind of holiday special episode. We'll have some reminiscences, some old friends, surprise guests, even a musical guest, all in the next 30 minutes or so. So let's start by talking about the end of the decade. The 2010s were the first full decade of Mediawiki. The software doesn't look all that different from how it did back then in 2010, but in the last 10 years we saw lots and lots of improvements. There's been the introduction of the vector skin, visual editor, much better mobile display, the resource loader, and of course thousands of other changes and improvements. Plus the beginning of Wikidata and Wikibase, Wikivoyage, not to mention probably tens of thousands of other MediaWiki-based wikis, some of which have gotten featured on this podcast. And I guess I should mention my own contributions in the 2010s. There was my book working with MediaWiki. A few of my extensions like Cargo came out in this decade. Just trying to make sure that Cargo gets mentioned in every episode. And then of course this podcast. And Wikipedia itself also underwent a change in the 2010s, I think. It was already an extremely popular website at the beginning of the decade, but it was also the subject of a lot of jokes and skepticism. And even the people who used it sometimes treated it as a guilty secret. Well, people still make jokes about Wikipedia, let's be honest, but at the same time it's really entered the fabric of society at this point, I think. Basically all around the world. It's just something people can't live without. Anyway, enough about the tens. 2019 was the second year for this podcast. I haven't talked about audience numbers so far in this show. Maybe I should, but anyway, I can tell you that the most popular episode of 2019 was also the first one, the interview with Denny Vrandicic, the creator of Wikidata, which probably shouldn't surprise anyone since Wikidata is such a popular topic of discussion. But there were a lot of other great guests and interviews over the year, some of which were almost as popular, and I encourage anyone to listen to the previous episodes from this year. I think there was a very nice mix of guests and topics. On that note, I've said it before, but if you yourself want to be on this show, please don't be afraid to just let me know. You can find contact details for me on my user page at mediawiki.org. If you're any kind of MediaWiki user or developer, there's a reasonable chance that you're already on some list of mine of people to interview in the future. But whether or not that's the case, I encourage you to write me and let me know if you want to be on the show. There are about 5 people who have asked to be on the show since this podcast began, and at this point they've all indeed been on, so I'd say you've got a pretty good chance of getting on. Anyway, on to this episode. Speaking of looking back, my very first guest on this show back in February 2018 was Cindy Chickles, who started off doing MediaWiki stuff at MITRE before joining the Wikimedia Foundation, where she still is now, in the role of Senior Product Manager. That episode, of course, has a special place in my heart because it was the first one. Plus, Cindy and I know each other very well at this point because we've been involved in everything from developing extensions to planning conferences together. So I decided to give her a call for this episode. Here's my recent talk with Cindy Chickles. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Yaron. How are you?
Good. It's good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
Yeah, so you were the first guest on this podcast, episode number 1, back about 2 years ago.
Has it been that long? Wow.
Yeah. So, that episode, of course, has a special place in my heart.
Mine too.
Oh, great. Even though I was really nervous for the whole thing, I don't know if it came out in the audio, but I think I've calmed down a little at this point, and I have better audio equipment too, but
that's right.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Getting ready to have a week off for the holidays and relax and recharge, and my holiday project is going to be playing with Docker.
Oh, that doesn't sound like recharging at all.
Oh, no, that's fun. Hey,
Yeah, okay.
I get to do something hands-on.
Yeah. So has anyone, have you gotten any fame from being on Between the Brackets? Has anyone stopped you and said, I heard your episode, or now I know who you are, or something?
Surprisingly, I have had a couple people mention it, and I always tell them I'm not able to listen to myself. So they know better what I said than I do, because I can't go back and listen to it. But my funny Between the Brackets story is actually over the summer. I was driving up to New Jersey with my kids in the car and my son's girlfriend, and they were all on their phones doing their own thing. And I said, "Do you mind if I listen to something on the way up?" And I put on actually Brian Davis's episode of Between the Brackets to listen to it, and not expecting for him to mention me, of course, but he did.
Oh, okay.
Which was rather funny. So I'm doing this thing, thinking it's just a work thing, and I'm listening to this, and that I'm enjoying it, but they're all too. And then suddenly they heard my name, and they all perked up. Mom, you're famous. So
Right.
I guess I did get a small measure of fame and hopefully prestige in my children's eyes, if nothing else. And but I have to admit, there are a couple key episodes that I still need to go back and listen to. You have been prolific in creating these episodes, and since I work from home and don't commute, which is an obvious place where you would listen to podcasts, I've gotten a bit behind on a few of them, and you are always having great guests, and so I'm looking forward to going back and listening to more, or taking more road trips to New Jersey or something.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Listening in the car is that's usually when I listen to podcasts and stuff. Cool. Yeah, I wasn't fishing for compliments, but thanks. Yeah, it's added up. Even though it's only about an hour every 2 weeks, it adds up. It's really it's sort of a monumental task at this point to try to listen to everything.
To try and get caught up. And I very appreciative, actually. At one point I mentioned you being behind by a few episodes, and then you created the digest, a few of the digest episodes.
Yeah, that's nice. Right. Little known fact, you were actually the inspiration, or the counselor or something behind the idea of doing those BTB digests, which is great. But I do feel like I want to go. It's like there've been so many amazing nuggets in there that I sort of want to go back and listen from the beginning again with pen and paper, or some way of taking notes, because I feel like there were really some gems, some nuggets of things that people said, or things that I didn't think of something that way, and it's a real novel way of looking at it. So and certainly the episodes, I was thinking of cramming all the episodes that I hadn't had when you told me I was going to be on today, and I realized there just weren't enough hours between then and now to cram. Oh, okay. Oh man, you're gonna totally fail the quiz.
Yeah. Oh no, you didn't tell me there was a quiz.
Oh yeah, pop quiz.
Oh man.
That's really cool though that you've been listening, and and it's great that you gained some fame among your kids. I know getting respect from your children is the hardest thing.
Yeah. And they're teenagers, so.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Forget about it. Fantastic. So this is the holiday episode. Do you have any favorite Christmas memories? Trying to keep it seasonal.
Christmas memory. Oh yeah, you see, I should have thought of that. Oh gosh.
Who knew this would be the toughest question?
I know, seriously. Who knew? I can't think of anything right now that would, totally energize your audience. I do know that, so one of the nice things about this job I have right now is that we do get a week off between Christmas and New year's. And that's something that I never really, since joining the working world, that was something I never had. And my husband seemed to always have jobs, that he was able to do that. So he'd have this relaxing time for the holidays, and I'd still be trying to work. So it's sort of nice to have that break and be able to recharge. So I am sort of looking at some projects that I might be able to do, and, you know, but nice to spend some time with the family and relaxing.
Yeah, cool.
And, yeah.
Well, that sounds like a plug for working for the Wikimedia Foundation.
There you go. Nice to get that week off. And they gave us Christmas Eve this year too, so we've got a really nice block of time.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's it.
How about you? Do you have any great holiday memories?
Yeah. Well, growing up in Israel, there was the candles and singing and stuff, which is great. But the thing I most remember about Hanukkah is just the food. It's big on oil. Oil is like a central part of the story, so you just eat fried foods. There's like a jelly donut thing that's really good. Latkes, which I was never as much into. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just had latkes the other night.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh.
But they weren't great latkes.
Okay, yeah.
I could go for some really good latkes.
Yeah, you got to get them fresh.
So actually one story, my son was actually born in early December. And so I think that was probably one of my favorite Christmases, was just, you know, getting a lot of time to spend with the newborn infant, and my husband taking some time. And I remember we suddenly realized that, you know, with this, you know, 2-3 week old infant, we hadn't thought about buying Christmas gifts for him. And my husband there was a new mall that was built close to us that was sort of landlocked, and he wound up getting trapped in there, and and he didn't have a cell phone with him, and he wasn't able to. And so he disappeared for hours, and came back with this little tiny stuffed monkey teether that we still have. So it was nice to have. Yeah, it was a small family, you know, just getting to know each other. And I remember we were frantically trying to take pictures with the new infant right before to send out Christmas cards. So.
Wow. Man, that's beautiful. I'm going to start crying.
And I watched a lot of White Christmas because it seemed like every time I sat down to feed my son, White Christmas was on TV. It was like a conspiracy. So I think I still have never actually seen that movie from beginning to end.
Oh, okay,
It's always whatever happened to be on when I turned it on.
Right. Oh, nice. Well, there you go. That's a great.
So I do have a Christmas memory after all.
Yeah. That's a good one. Cool. Well, it was good to catch up with you.
You too.
And for the audience to hear what you've been up to. Well, non-wiki related. Right, non-wiki stuff. Yeah, it hasn't been officially. It'll be officially announced, I think, by the time this episode comes out. But we're going to be at the EMW conference early next year. But there'll be more. There'll be an episode about that later on.
Oh, will there be? Good.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Yes, absolutely. I'm looking forward to that conference, and looking forward to lots of people contributing their knowledge and joining us there.
Very good. Yeah. All right. Good talking to you, Cindy.
Good talking with you, too.
That was Cindy Chickalese, who now holds the distinction of being not just the first guest, but also the first returning guest on the podcast. I mentioned that there was a musical guest. There have been quite a few interviewees on this podcast who are also musicians. There's a very interesting link between interest in software and interest in music that maybe we'll get to in a later episode of this show. But for the musical portion of this episode, I decided to contact my friend Bernhard Krabina, who was another early guest on the podcast, and who, in addition to his MediaWiki work, also plays guitar in a band. So, here he is. Hello, Bernhard.
Yeah, hello.
So I talked to you about MediaWiki stuff back in 2018, and we talked a little bit about your music career back then. but this is the holiday special, so now we're doing some music. So you're in a band. It's called, I believe, Patchwork FM.
Yes, Patchwork FM. Yeah, exactly. It's a pop band. So we play our own original songs. And we're based in Vienna, Austria, obviously. We are actually preparing our new album.
Cool.
It is supposed to be released next year. So 2020 will be hopefully our CD release. Yeah.
Do you have a name for the album yet?
It's probably going to be called Tug of War, because we have one song also that is called Tug of War, and this is going to be the title track.
Cool. So you're going to do the musical act for this podcast. What can you say about it?
Yeah, it's basically from a song from the upcoming album. It's called "Believed in You," and it is basically the chorus of the song played just on a guitar. It is actually the way I wrote this chord changes, and on the CD it will not be heard as in this version, because then the full band is playing it and the guitar will be playing something different. But that's the way I initially wrote this chord changes for this song.
I see. Okay, and you wrote the song?
Yes.
Very good. Well, I love solo guitar. This is on electric guitar?
Yes, it's on electric guitar and recorded with a small microphone. So nothing special actually, but might be a nice update to your great podcast. So.
Oh, thank you. Well, you know Bernhard Krabina, the consultant and Mediawiki evangelist and developer. But here's Bernhard Krabina, the musician, playing Believed in You. Wow, cool. That sounded great. Thank you for contributing your music.
Yeah, thank you for asking me. It was a pleasure, and maybe you want to check out my website, www.patchwork.fm. It is a little bit outdated, but it should be more content should be there in the upcoming year when we have our CD release, and so looking forward to some listeners online.
Cool. Thank you. I'm looking forward to hearing the album Tug of War by Patchwork FM when it comes out. In the summer of 2018, I helped to mentor 2 students, both from India, in the program known as the Google Summer of Code. And then a while after that, I had them both on the show to talk about their experiences. I actually mentored 2 students in the summer of 2019 as well, but I decided not to have them on the show or anyone else who did a Mediawiki project this year, because I didn't want to repeat things, and I thought the 2018 episode was a good summary of the GSOC experience. But I've been talking on and off with Priyanshu Varshney, who was one of my 2 students in 2019, about doing other development work, and at one point he specifically asked me whether they, the 2 2019 students, were going to be on the show. So I thought this episode would be the ideal time to bring him on for a short chat. So here's my talk with Priyanshu Varshney, who is a student at the Indian Institute of Technology Indore, located in Indore, India. Hi, Priyanshu.
Hi, Yaron.
So you were my Google Summer of Code student, one of my 2 over the summer. What was your project?
So my project was to make was to make a feature to my project was to make additional feature for the page existing page for the extension for the MediaWiki.
Yeah.
So what I did was I made an editable calendar so that events which contain date and date time, data types can be populated over that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it was an editable calendar, so people can drag and drop and create new events by clicking, and very graphical and stuff. Yeah, how did it go? It's kind of an open-ended question.
Yeah. So exactly. So it was pretty interesting. So as you might remember that the project was quite different from what we started, and yeah, it was quite open-ended in itself. The problem statement was open-ended in itself. So
Right.
yeah.
It turned out great. Actually, so interestingly, one of the impetuses for this project was that the people at NASA, some of the people at NASA wanted it, and one of them, this guy Eric Biegert, was one of the mentors on the project, so he was there to give feedback and say this makes sense, this doesn't make sense. So you don't know this, but I actually talked to him a few weeks ago, and he said they're now using it there at NASA, and they really like the feature.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So the project was quite interesting. When I got to know that Eric itself is Eric Bigot, who actually works in NASA, and he told me when I had a conversation with him after I got selected for GSOC that this project is itself asked by the NASA people. So yeah, it was quite interesting. And last time I talked to him, he told me that they are implementing. And now you told me the good news.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty incredible that, and I mean I'm in the same boat. We've created software that is being used to help astronauts. I mean it's pretty profound if you think about it.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes I even get the goosebumps. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're in your final year of college now?
Yes, I'm in my final year of my college.
Yeah. And you've been looking for a job, or you have a job already?
Yes.
Next year?
So as a part of the campus placement, I got placed in Combord Systems. So I got placed in Combord System as a software engineer.
Cool.
And yeah. My job location will be in Bengaluru.
Bangalore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I've heard it's a nice place. It's like the Silicon Valley of India.
Yeah, it's the Silicon Valley of India, correct.
So did this Google Summer of Code project help?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the round was based on project itself, and since I did my Google Summer of Code project with diligence, they actually saw it, and we had around 45-minute discussion over it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, there you go. Doing Google Summer of Code can help you get a job.
Yes, exactly.
Proof now. So this is the holiday special. We talked about that's the technical part of the podcast episode. I guess the Indian equivalent of Christmas and Hanukkah is Diwali or Diwali, although that happened, when is that, late October or something?
Yeah, exactly. It happened in the last week of October.
Yeah, okay. Do you have any Diwali memories? Anything memorable from childhood or anything?
Yeah. So, as you correctly said, that Diwali is the Indian equivalent of Christmas. So we people take it quite seriously. So we celebrate it seriously. They are quite the Diwali celebration is divided into 3 days. So first day is Choti Diwali. It's called Choti Diwali, or in English it will be called a small Diwali. And the next
Yeah,
day
okay.
is the main. And next day is the main Diwali event. So at that day, people, what I did, I collected my, gathered my friends, and we, enjoyed lovely food made by my mother itself herself,
Oh,
and
nice.
at night we burned firecrackers. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
okay.
so what there was for me, this year, this it was a Diwali gift for me, because the next day I got placed itself. I got the job itself. So this year the Diwali gave me a Christmas present.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds like a Diwali miracle.
yeah, it's a Diwali miracle for me. So
Fantastic. Well,
yes,
that's great. And that's, I think, a perfect way to wrap up this special holiday episode. So Priyanshu, it was great talking to you.
yeah. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be with you.
So that was the Between the Brackets holiday and end of year special and 50th episode. I hope you liked it. Many thanks to all my guests. Happy holidays and see you next time.